Hey, good morning, everybody. It's BDF44 coming at you with another video. So, I'm reading up on some of the rumors that are out there. Uh, probably they have no merit whatsoever, but they do bring me to conversation. Basically, I've read that the New York Knicks are um, trying to try to lame Dame, and basically what they were offering in this particular scenario was like four picks. I think two of them being swaps and three players: Obi Toppin, Mitchell Robinson, and Emmanuel Quickly. Now, the package itself is super pricey, as we all know. That's not a deal that if you're the New York Knicks and you're not bidding against somebody that you'd be willing to give up. Like, if you tell me that this is the only package on the offer for Portland, and then you tell me the New York Knicks actually made that deal, I'm laughing at them, because that's an absolutely bad deal if you're not bidding it, if you're not trying to outbid another team. But if the other options are on the table, which for Dame Lillard there obviously will be, and that's the price, that's the package that the Knicks decide to choose on, you would be wise to go through with that. You don't sit up there when you got a player like Dame Lillard, a top 10 player in the league, top 3 guard arguably in the league. You do not sit there with your hands on your backside saying, well, yes, it's about 4 picks. We really do like Quickly. Mitchell Robinson could block shots. Man, you better trade those dudes and stop freaking playing around. Let me tell you something. I like Obi Toppin. He looks like he's going to be something. He had a bad rookie season, but that was a fluke. He's going to come back, bounce strong, and be one of those stretch forward players that can dunk all over the place. Very nice Mari Stoudemire type prospect, in my opinion. Look at Mitchell Robinson, I'm a believer. Shot blocker extraordinaire. Going to be one of the premier shot blockers in the game going forward. Big time rebounder. One of the highest shooting percentages ever, because all he does is dunk everything. And then you got a guy by the name of Emmanuel Quickly, who's leaped from season 1, where he was really good but showed himself to be kind of a one-dimensional scorer for the most part, to season 2, where in these summer league he showed that his playmaking ability has jumped leaps and bounds. He's making passes, he's doing all kinds of stuff that makes others better. He's taken a step in the right direction, and was already a super prospect. So we know that these are kids going to be special. You don't want to toss them in no deal for just any old body. You're not looking to trade them. This is not a deal I believe is actually happening. All of that, okay? So let's keep that in perspective. What we're talking about actually is, do we offer a hypothetical package like this for Dame Lillard if you're the New York Knicks? And the answer is yes. If you're bidding against another team, yes. If the Sacramento Kings are offering up Tyrese Halliburton, a bunch of picks, and 2 other players as well, you're going to have to try to bid with that. If the Memphis Grizzlies are offering up a bunch of players, a bunch of picks, yeah, then you have to turn around and look at that. Timberwolves, etc. All these different teams that are going to be trying to go after Dame, Philadelphia, whomever. You are going to have to match or exceed their trade package. And if they happen to, quote-unquote, overpay, trying to outbid you, then guess what? That's what happens in an auction. You got to up the ante or you're going to lose out. So as far as I'm concerned, if you're the New York Knicks and you're trying to get Dame Lillard, you do what you got to do to get Dame Lillard. Did the Lakers act a fool when it was time to get AD? No. Much to my chagrin at the time, they pulled the trigger on a deal that gave away seemingly everything. I hated it at the time, have since grown to understand why that was not the way to look at it, simply put. And still understand my points of view when looking at it that way. But like the New York Knicks, who were in the situation I was in 3 years ago when we were trying to figure out if we really wanted to go with AD, although they didn't have no LeBron James to help sway them away from the timeline, they are ultimately the New York Knicks and also don't have 17 championships to look behind them and say, we're successful. If you're the New York Knicks and you're trying to get a 32-year-old Dame Lillard so you can possibly have him lead you to a finals and put his jersey up in the rafters, then you need to pay for him. You need to pay for him. And as I always say, as I always talk to you guys about, when you're a bad organization, you're going to pay for that. Just like a player who's going to a good organization is going to have to work that into his equation as well, because he's going to be docked for it. If you're going to a good team, they're not going to have the money to pay you, and they're not going to be inclined to pay you as much because you're going to win, as opposed to going to a place like New York where you're probably going to suffer a little bit. So the Knicks are going to have to pay for that. And their fans are going to have to understand that. You're going to overpay for whoever you get at that cachet because you're the Knicks. Look at the Clippers and what they had to give up for Paul George. Does anybody think that was a good deal? Hell no. It's a terrible deal. They gave away their whole future. But that's what it costs. That's the price. It's the risk you take when you try to go all in. When you try to pick up a Hall of Famer. Yeah, you got to pay for that. Now, do the New York Knicks have their eyes on Zion, so it would be wise not to give up all their picks for Dame? Of course. So, specifically, because of these particular circumstances, no, I do not do this deal because I want to save all of that for Zion. But literally, if Zion's not on the table, or if I happen to want Zion over Dame for some reason, yeah, I'm going to have to give up Quickly, Robinson, Toppin, picks. And if they ask for more, chances are I'm going to have to get it up too. And no, I bet not complain about it. It's Dame Lillard, and I'm the Knicks. You got to look at it like this. All these nice little pieces that you got, and this is what I had to come to terms with too. Because you learn to love your kids, especially if they're developing well under you. You see, Obi Toppin, if you would have told people you trade him last year, they probably would have been cool. You see him in the summer league dunking all over the place, shooting threes. Now suddenly he's a higher value prospect. You fans ain't ready to give him up. But rarely do you consider what you're bringing back when you consider what you have to give up. All you see is the price tag. I don't see what I'm bringing back. I don't see how that weapon helps me. I don't see how I can maneuver the cap to replace what I'm losing and improve upon the overall winning possibility of the team. I don't see none of that. All I see is I'm giving up something. I don't like overpaying for nothing. I give up Emmanuel Quickly. You know how much Emmanuel Quickly means to me? He was drafted to the Knicks. I'm not trying to give up our homegrown players, especially when I don't know how good they can be. This dude might turn off to be an Allen Iverson. Then what? We trade him for Dame Lillard. Got Dame's contract. Quickly's going to blow up in Portland. He turns into an all-star. We regret that, just like we regret the Porzingis move. Maybe. Not really, but you get the point. But I will tell them, I just watched B.I. become an all-star. I just watched Lonzo Ball go on to get an $80 million contract with the Bulls. I just watched Josh Hart grab, I think, what was it, 12 or something like that? I don't know, but he got paid too. I watched our pick, DeAndre Hunter, turn into something. He's in Atlanta. He's doing great. Even though he got hurt last year, he's going to go on and have a nice career. All that stuff the Lakers gave up over the years is good right now, like all of it. And you know what? It's totally fine. Do you know why? Because I have a championship since all that left. Since all those guys left, all those great players, all those nice clusters of young players that I believed in and still believe in and now have turned into what I thought they'd turn into or even better, guess what? It doesn't matter. Why? Because I got Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis. Now the reality is, I don't think you love having Anthony Davis as much if you surround him with nothing. So they would have to do their job and make sure they got Dame Lillard or Zion or whoever they get, something, so they can get a ring to make it all make sense. But guess what, New York? You don't have any of that yet. All you have is a bunch of kids, just like we had, who ain't going to get you where you need to go at all. With us and our kids, the way we saw it was, we don't want to give up the kids because we think with LeBron James and the kids on contract with a rookie contract at the time, we could pile on another star player and have all the kids, Anthony Davis the following year, and maybe LeBron James as well. We're that much better. That was my argument. It was always a logical argument for why I didn't want to do the deal. It wasn't just because I didn't think I wanted to pay that much for something that was a lot better than anything we had. New York, Dame is a lot better than anything you have. If people want to give up, if people want you to give up picks and players, that's the cost of doing business. It's what it's going to cost to get you what you want. If you're not willing to do that, you can stay where you're at. No one's going to cry if you continue to suck. I promise. No one's going to cry. If Dame never, ever plays a New York Knicks basketball, guess who's going to be upset about that? You. That's it. Nobody else. No one's going to care. And guess what? You're in competition with the Nets. So you're looking more like the Clippers than you're looking like the Lakers, even though that's your city. The Nets are the ones that are going to be going on with the superstars to win, possibly, unless we can stop them. The Lakers can. So what I'm saying to you is this. If you're trying to keep up with them or at least scratch and sniff at least where they at, you want to throw a rock at the throne and get close enough to, you better go get Dame and stop playing. Don't let no couple of nice players keep you from getting Dame. I like Quickly. Maybe he turns into something that great. I don't think he's deficient in any way, him turning into something like Dame is absolutely possible. I truly believe that. I think Quickly, from what I've seen, can be a great player maybe. He can also be a really good player, as to what you would have wished you traded him when he was younger for Dame Lillard. It's Dame time. What are you talking about? Do the deal. If it comes about and you're certain you cannot get Zion, or you're certain you can do this and still have a competitive ain't enough, a dominating package for Zion, you do it. But if you do this deal to get Dame, and that takes you out of the Zion sweepstakes, then it is a mistake, and you do not do it. But that's the only reason why you don't do it, other than the fact that it's just not on the table, obviously. But yeah, if Portland calls you up and says, hey, put together your best package, you better throw on more than that. Because chances are they're going to have about 7 or 8 other teams doing the same thing. And you can say, I don't want to give up quickly, and you're going to see Dame go to Boston or something, Philly or something, torching you. Y'all going to stay at the bottom of the barrel, and you know what it's going to be? More of the same. Knicks suck. Could have had a chance to get Dame. They didn't do it. Emmanuel Quickly's real nice. Yeah, he's nice. They're in the 8th spot. No. Nope. And also, you notice how I didn't mention RJ Barrett or Julius Randle. If you're able to acquire Dame Lillard without giving up either one of those 2 players, New York, you've won. It's the same thing I said about the Lakers getting Russell Westbrook, even though everybody's killing us for how much we gave up to get him. Laker fans couldn't care less. We're happy to give up all that anyway. We didn't think any of that was coming back, for 1. 2, we definitely understand that bringing back THT is ultimately the goal, because we knew that we didn't have too many trades that we can make for cachet players without giving up THT. Now, maybe you view Quickly as THT in that regard. Smart. But as I said, if you go back and watch some of those videos, for me, THT would not have kept us from getting Russell Westbrook. I would have threw him in that deal if I had to. I wouldn't have been too happy about it. In fact, I would have been miserable about it. But like I said, cost of what it is you're trying to build. Now, we would have had to keep that 27th pick. I wasn't giving both THT and the pick up. And I'm glad we gave up the pick and kept THT for what it's worth. And I do value Dame Lillard higher than Russell Westbrook for what that's worth. But at the end of the day, yeah, I'm outside of the mindset of allowing good prospects keep me from getting great legends. That's not happening. I'm living proof that when you give up your kids for that great legend and you build well around that legend, you feel good about it, even if the kids go on to be whatever you expect them to be. You can still root for the kids. Quickly don't have to be a Knick for you to root for him. I'm still rooting for Beion. I'm still rooting for Lonzo. I'm still watching out for Larry Nance and all my guys. All my youngsters, I'll still pay attention to them on different teams. They don't have to be Lakers for me to root for them. I know what we sacrificed to get what? You bring back Dame Lillard, believe you me, you ain't gonna miss Emmanuel Quickly. You ain't gonna miss him unless Dame get hurt or something. Knock on wood. You're not gonna miss him. This is not gonna be a situation like the Carmelo situation where you guys gave up the entire team to get back Carmelo Anthony. No deal like that is ever gonna be done again. The whole league learned from your mistake, New York. No one's gonna do that. Masai Ujiri was able to pull that off for one time. Nobody's doing that. But what I will say is this. Dame is 32. So if you're going to throw in something massive, 4 picks, 3 players of all starter magnitude, if you're going to do something like that, you better have a plan. You don't bring him in and then pull a Carmelo Anthony and say, you got it. Take us to the home. And then let the New York media bash him to hell. Well, the first thing he's going to do is get the hell out of there. That's what he's going to do. So you better have a plan. And that doesn't go for just Dame. That goes for anybody who acquires anybody. If you don't have a plan for one of these super duper guys you bringing in, you just bringing them in, smashing them against players, that doesn't work. Guys be quick to want to leave. So, Knicks are not the Lakers. The Knicks are not Boston. The Knicks are not one of those teams, even though they have what is considered the most valuable franchise in basketball. If I'm not mistaken, they're number 1. At the end of the day, they still don't have the cachet as some of these other teams because they haven't won. In fact, a lot of what we know about the Knicks is because they've been very, very, very loud in their ineptitude, to be honest. A lot of what most of the people who know of the Knicks is that the Knicks are a losing organization that makes terrible decisions. It's not always good to be known by everybody if you're known for all that. But what I will say is this. They have a great chance to turn it around. The organization has been drafting some good players lately. They've been making some solid moves. I think their team is average, but good average, the type of average that you'd rather be. And because of it, they have some pieces that can attract a guy like Dame Lillard. I didn't laugh at the package that they were offering, and that package didn't include Randall, RJ. So the Knicks have done something right because of that. And if you love Emmanuel Quigley, then throw in RJ. Not going to do that, are you? That's another thing. I've been paying attention. People have been disrespecting RJ Barrett. It's almost like they want him to be more of a disappointment than he actually has been. Because it just makes sense to throw him in that Darko Milicic situation when you got the other two phenomenal players packaged next to him in the draft, above him and below him. He's got a lot of guys around him that were really, really good, and it would just be so very easy if they could just bash him like Marvin Bagley. But the reality is, RJ is just developing a bit slowly, but he hasn't been a disappointment. He's a pure scorer, just like everybody said he would. He's a better defender than people said he is. He's a better rebounder than people say he is. He's a fantastic contortional, ambidextrous type of finisher in the paint, good free throw shooter. I think this is going to be a guy who continues to ascend into all-star status. I do. I know it's real fun to hate on him, to view him as a bust, and to not be able to do that is disappointing to a lot of these narrative creators. But I'm here to say that RJ Barrett is not a bust. He's just not a super duper guy like the guys he was drafted around. But he can turn into that. You just give him some time, keep him in a role that allows him to be himself, and respect his limitations just like any and every player. But to be dead ass honest with you, RJ Barrett has lived up to the potential that I had for him, for the expectations that I had for him. And I think New York should be happy that they have him. Should they have drafted other players? Knicks should always draft other players. Even with Obi Toppin playing this well, they should have drafted Tyrese Halliburton. And if they got any sense, they'll field some calls to Sacramento, see if they can get him out of there, to be completely honest with you. I know y'all love Kemba Walker, but I'm not certain Kemba's still Kemba. It's a beautiful story, but you got Kemba Walker and Derrick Rose, and I got a feeling Quickly's going to be the one playing the most this season. In my humble opinion, if you can upgrade at that point guard position, even in bringing in Kemba Walker right now, you do that. Kemba could go back and play like a great Kemba Walker, or this could be the beginning of the end. I'm one that's optimistic that it's not the end, but I don't want to rely upon him until he's already proven with one single season that he is, in fact, back. That's where I'm at with Kemba Walker. I don't doubt his talent, but I do doubt what the injuries have done to his body. So I'm concerned there. And I think the New York Knicks are a bit gung-ho about what he's going to do for them. Good thing they have Quickly and Rose. And with that being said, Quickly and Rose, hey, guess what? Walker, Kemba, Derrick, Kemba Walker, Derrick Rose, and Emmanuel Quickly is a three-headed point guard log jam. It gives you insurance, so it's not the worst log jam. It's not as bad as Sacramento, but you could totally see them condensing that position a little bit. And in condensing that position, you take two, turn it into one, or you take one, turn it into a different position, what have you. I look over there at Sacramento. I see their three-headed logjam. It's much more intense because the players are much more high caliber in terms of youth and upside. And I say that Tyrese Halliburton should have always been in New York. New York went back and got Dennis Smith Jr. when they knew they should have drafted him from the Dallas Mavericks, even though that didn't work out. They tend to behave this way, is what I'm saying. If I'm them, I'm looking at Sacramento, I'm saying, okay, Tyrese Halliburton doesn't even have a role over there. I can package up a third of the package that I'm offering for Dame and go get him. Add him to this mix. There's a little things that they can do to get better. Instead of aiming for Dame, giving up stuff that your fans are arguing they don't really want to give up. Only have Dame playing at this level for another 4 years, as opposed to Tyrese Halliburton over the next 4 years is going to turn into a star, in my opinion. So those are just a little type of stuff that I'd be thinking about if I'm in control of the Knicks as a GM. This is little things you can do They can kind of turn this roster into something a bit more, with a bit more punch. You know, this is such a competitive Eastern Conference. So if you're going to try to go after it this year, in my humble opinion, the Knicks don't have enough. A team like the Celtics don't have enough. The teams around them have just gotten too much better. They didn't even necessarily get worse, these teams, but the teams around them got better. So it's either a wash season for a lot of these guys, hope for injuries. Maybe that sneaks you into a situation like Milwaukee, or it's a wash season. Y'all gonna be in the playoffs, play-in game at best. Maybe that's good enough. You know, maybe you don't want to mortgage everything and then end up only getting to that point anyway. But there are ways the New York Knicks can improve the actual roster. On paper, they look really good. But I think when they get out there, you're going to find out that some of the guys that they have, they're going to be asking to do things that maybe they shouldn't be asked to do at this stage of their career. Or you're going to see guys like Emmanuel quickly play more than a guy like Kemba Walker, and that's just kind of a weird dynamic on this team. It all depends on how guys play. It all depends on what the coach says. This is Thibodeau, so the bench ain't going to be getting much minutes. That's another thing. It's kind of weird. I wonder how that's going to be this year with those type of players. But nevertheless, the New York Knicks are in a very, very advantageous situation if they want to package up all of their assets and get a star. They can do it. They can be players. So that's basically what this is about. Give up whatever you need to give up to get the right player, and take it from a Laker fan who felt the same way you did. That's not the way to go. You want to get better, and superstars will help you win championships. You don't have superstars, a bunch of kids that you can rah all the way to the top. All they're going to do is leave you anyway. They're going to go sign big contracts somewhere else. That's all that's going to happen. Jump in front of that, shave off the ones you know you're not going to pay, turn them into players that can help you win. That's the name of the game. My name is BDL44. Thank you all for watching. I'm out.